So today I thought I'd talk about the YouTuber bestdressed, as there has been a lot of heat on both sides about whether she is problematic or not, and I know I'm late to jump on the bandwagon, but I wanted to make a video about this. In this video, I'm going to consider the more common criticisms against her and what she can do to address these. I'm actually a fan of Ashley, and I've been following her for 2.5 years, but I won't be using these arguments to defend her. While I think it's important to take her age into account, I also think it's counterproductive to pin anything problematic she has done on how young she is. I agree, but then again, I don't think anyone is asking her to be perfect. I think constructive criticism is important, as long as it's not done in a hateful manner. I actually like Ashley's content and will continue watching her. However, while this is a valid argument in some instances, I also think it's important to criticize things which could be problematic and not stay silent about them. Of course I'm jealous. She's pretty, rich, and super successful, but there are some things which do warrant critique. I'm sure there are YouTubers who are way worse, but why does that mean I can't critique Ashley? I also don't really watch YouTubers who people have been saying are more problematic than her, so I'm not qualified to comment about them. So, if you're going to comment something along these lines, please don't, because they're not real arguments and they don't add to the discussion. This is not meant to be a hate video, and the purpose of this video is to encourage people to view content more thoughtfully. If there is anything in this video that comes off as hateful, please let me know exactly what it is and I will flag it. Each issue is timestamped in the description if you would like to skip ahead. Ashley has expressed multiple times that she is passionate about sustainability.
They're handmade in Italy, they're from a sustainable brand, and sustainability is something that I'm really passionate about and that I'm trying to incorporate more into my wardrobe. But I also recognize it is such an elitist issue to ask somebody to pay $200 for a sustainably made Reformation dress when they might be working minimum wage or they might be in student debt. I know buying sustainable can be really expensive, so that is why I love thrift shopping. Speaking of secondhand, my dress is from a thrift store. Honestly, I look up to so many sustainable brands. As you guys know, I rant about Reformation like every single video. I wish that I could dive headfirst into sustainable fashion, stop buying fast fashion altogether, and just have a wardrobe of completely Reformation and vintage and thrifted items. I'm wet just thinking about it. But unfortunately, as a college student paying rent in LA, that's just not happening right now. But today I thought I would do at least what I can towards the sustainable fashion movement and talk about some pieces that I got from sustainable brands and some ways that you can get really high quality sustainable clothing without completely decimating your wallet.
My experience may be a little different to the other people who have made videos about her, but I actually found out about Ashley when I was looking into how I could be more sustainable with my clothing choices. She seemed to understand sustainability, and I was really happy to find a YouTuber who agreed with me on how horrific mass production and consumption of fast fashion is. So the criticisms people have of her sustainability is that she promotes fast fashion and consumption.
Before we jump into the lookbook, I wanted to give a big thank you to Amazon Prime Wardrobe for sponsoring this video.
People have responded to the backlash Ashley has received by saying that it is impossible to be sustainable in every facet of your life, that you can't expect her to be 100% sustainable, and that she never made her brand sustainable. I definitely agree that it is impossible to be sustainable in every facet of your life, but the issue is that she actively promotes and endorses these brands. I don't think people critical of her position on sustainability would mind if she continued to buy fast fashion for her personal use. The issue is she's promoting mass consumption. I also do think she made part of her brand off of being sustainable. If you look at all the clothing hauls that she has done on her channel, she has done 6 fast fashion hauls on her channel, and only 3 of those were uploaded in 2017 or after. She has done 25 thrift hauls or sustainable brand hauls, and 8 thrift flips since this time, and some are also sponsored by companies like Poshmark and ThredUp. We know that she styles fast fashion items in style videos, but she only rarely has tried to show off that she bought them, and not in the last 2 years. So in my opinion, she did build part of her brand off of her thrifting and sustainability. She doesn't need to explicitly say things like, "I am a sustainable queen," for sustainability to be part of her brand. In fact, she was even featured in an interview by Fashion Revolution, one of the biggest movements against fast fashion. I also found this comment on her Instagram from a while back when someone asked her about why she was promoting Nasty Gal. And also her comments on how financial situations are different for everyone. I can at least somewhat understand promoting affordable brands, but she has also been promoting brands like Calvin Klein, Urban Outfitters, and Marc Jacobs, which aren't affordable.
Outfitters as much as the next 20-year-old who cut her bangs at home, but obviously Urban Outfitters can get pretty expensive, especially for a store that steals like 90% of its aesthetic from thrifted items to begin with. So I thought it would be the perfect brand to try to recreate some of their pieces for a little bit cheaper, and also a little bit more sustainably.
Also, it's worth noting that the offending Amazon video had no pieces that were under $50. She has also said things explaining how she sometimes does feel hypocritical.
It's this weird tug between my fashionista materialistic brain and this like environmentally conscious minimalist brain, and I don't know how to reconcile the two, but I'm really trying. Yeah, sorry I'm not great at this. I'm not perfect at all. I'm working on it. Thanks for coming along with the journey.
I think it's good that Ashley acknowledges that she isn't perfect, and I think that overall Ashley has done a good thing by promoting thrifting and sustainability. I think that's fantastic. But it is confusing, especially as a viewer who stopped buying unsustainable clothing partly because of Ashley when she promotes the very thing she preaches against. For example, could you imagine if someone said that they were passionate about veganism and they wanted to become vegan, but then they promoted slabs of meat? I think it's fair to criticize her sponsorship choices. A large factor is also that Ashley needs to make money, and while YouTube AdSense is a decent source of income, she can make a lot of money by partnering with these brands. And I'm sure that promoting fast fashion is more profitable than promoting sustainable fashion. And if she does value the money more than aligning her content with her values, that's fine, but I wish she would be more open about it. In this video, Lily gave 4 solutions for Ashley. Instead of promoting fast fashion brands, she could promote sustainable fashion brands, partner with non-fashion companies, start a Patreon, or create her own ethical clothing line. This was a really good video, and Lily obviously has a much deeper understanding of sustainability than I do, so I recommend you check it out. So this is related to the previous issue, but Ashley makes a lot of anti-capitalist comments in her videos that makes her views known.
Use all your time to continue to churn the wheel of capitalism.
So similarly, people have pointed out that it is hypocritical of her to partner with brands like Amazon, as they are the epitome of capitalism. While even brands like ThredUp and Poshmark are capitalistic in nature, it is far more on-brand than something like Amazon. I also agree that we all engage in capitalism, and I don't think anyone is expecting for her to be a revolutionary or anything, but rather not to support brands which are the complete antithesis to her values. Supporting a brand like Squarespace or ThredUp is far more on-brand than supporting Amazon. However, some comments have pointed out it is impossible to escape capitalism, no matter what job you work, and Ashley, as one person, can't do anything about it, so she may as well play the game. I know this is an extreme example, but if Jeff Bezos came out as anti-capitalist, people would probably call this hypocritical. So how involved in capitalism do you have to be, between the average worker and Jeff Bezos, to be at a point where you can rightly be called hypocritical? This is a tough question, and I'm not sure about the answer to this. On a related note, Ashley seems to say things that indicate her self-worth come from her work, and there's nothing wrong with taking pride in your work, but one of the biggest criticisms of capitalism is that it dehumanizes people by valuing them only for their work output, rather than who they are as a person. So I find it interesting that she feels this way, despite being unashamedly anti-capitalist. Honestly, there is no perfect solution to this, as she has to keep doing sponsorships. If she started her own brand, that would also be capitalistic. I think the solution to this is similar to the solutions around sustainability, and that is, while all corporations are capitalistic, she should at least try to partner with corporations which respect human rights and act in, if possible, an ethical manner. So Ashley was caught selling PR on her Depop. A few people questioned if this was her real account, but I think it was, as you can see here. But the account and listings are exactly the same, and she's mentioned that she has used Depop in the past as well. I think what happened with this is that she used her old Depop account to sell stuff more recently, in December last year. It is possible that someone copied all of her listings exactly and then added Marc Jacobs PR, but that seems quite unlikely. She has also sold PR on her website, although she has taken down all the listings when these problematic videos started coming out. She has also sold PR that she received from her friend Jen M.
Vlog. So, this dress is from Jen M's Eggy line.
Oh, really?
Oh. More people should buy from them because it's super cute.
It was like some Reformation Boutique LA thing.
How much was it?
It was free because it was PR.
You're on her PR list?
Yeah.
So many people have said that it is her right to sell PR, and I agree with this, but I still don't think she should have done it, if only not to taint her image. A lot of people said that maybe she was desperate for the money, so she needed to sell it. But I doubt this, especially given that she moved to New York City on a whim around the same time she sold the PR, and she's an incredibly famous YouTuber. While I don't think it is necessarily unethical to sell something that you receive for free, it is a bit distasteful. A lot of people also ask what else she could have done with the PR if not sell it. If she didn't want it in the first place, it would have been best not to accept it, and she has actually acknowledged this.
So this is going to sound incredibly obnoxious and hard to relate to, but now I get a lot of PR, so companies are sending me free clothing, and it feels really hard to say no to because, first of all, I love fashion and I love clothing, and second of all, I still have that like free shampoo in a hotel room type of mentality where if something is free, I want to go and collect it because it's fucking free and that's exciting. But as I'm doing this job for longer, I realize that it's my responsibility to say no to this clothing if it's not something that I'm going to wear for years and years because that clothing could otherwise go to somebody else. Or
I think she could have also either donated it or done a giveaway, which probably also would have been good for the engagement on her channel. And these ways of getting rid of PR would also not be a risk to her image. Even though she could make money off of selling PR, there is a very real chance that a brand like Marc Jacobs would not be happy about her selling the products they have gifted her and may end the partnership with her. In general, a lot of brands have terms that prohibit the influencer from reselling PR. Either way, it was not a very good business decision to choose to sell the PR. On a related note, she has also sold some used piece of clothing for more than retail price, or thrifted items for a very high price on her website. This is a bit of a trickier issue in my opinion. Is the right price the price that someone is willing to pay for it, or should the retail price be taken into account? I think that as someone with a large platform who knows that all of her clothing will sell out very quickly, and fans will buy anything she lists, maybe she has a duty to price things that reflect their market value. But let me know what you guys think. Honestly, I don't really know how she can address the PR issue. If she acknowledges that she sold PR, she could lose current partnerships and future sponsorships, because brands will be hesitant to work with someone who has sold PR. While this would be an incredibly gutsy move, it's totally understandable that she wouldn't want to do it. All she can really do is not do it again. Maybe host giveaways to show that she's moved past selling PR. So Ashley has always emphasized that she comes from a small town in Maryland, a place super removed from cities like New York City and Los Angeles, where there wasn't much to do.
I grew up in like a small town in Maryland. I felt like there were these elusive worlds of fashion and film that I like literally wasn't sure if it was just a pipe dream that I wanted to be part of or whether it was even real because I didn't know real people who did that. So I hope like in a small way I can kind of be like, I'm your hometown friend who is showing you this stuff, and like I swear if I can be at Fashion Week that you guys also have access to those worlds, if that makes sense.
Her hometown is in the richest county in the US and has 60,000 people, which I personally wouldn't call a small town, but our ideas of a small town may just be a little different. Anyway, I don't think there's anything wrong with her making these comments, but it does paint a certain picture, especially when considering some other comments she has made.
This one I was so surprised how many times I got it, which is your parents are rich and you're a trust fund baby. My parents were both first generation immigrants and they were both the first in our families to go to college, so trust me, there is no trust fund going on there. But quick disclaimer before we jump into this video, I want to recognize the insane amount of privilege I've had as somebody who grew up in a middle class family, went to a college of her choice.
In my opinion, considering these comments together, I don't think it would be unreasonable to assume or think that her family was in the lower end of middle class. While she never said she was poor, I don't think many people would think that her family is well off. But her family is actually incredibly wealthy and makes them the top 1% of US incomes. Her family works in the public sector, so their incomes are available online. I know this isn't much information, but I wanted to protect their privacy while still trying to give some kind of evidence. These records also date back to 2012, and her family has always had incomes which put them in the upper percentiles of US household incomes. I just want to clarify there's absolutely nothing wrong with coming from a wealthy family, and it doesn't invalidate any of the hard work she has done. However, it is wrong to deny that her background had absolutely no effect on her successful academic record. It has been shown that family income and education is strongly correlated to how successful a child is in their career and in school. It's also possible that since where she grew up was the richest county in the States, she felt that, compared to all of her peers, she was just average, or middle class. Perhaps her family didn't spoil her in the same way her peers were. I'm also guessing that the reason that they didn't pay her entire tuition is because out-of-state tuition is incredibly expensive when she'd gone to the university her parents work at for a discounted price, and they wanted to instill the value of money into her. But that's totally an assumption. But considering how broke she presents herself, I imagine she would have realized the truth when she moved out to LA. A lot of people defended this by saying that she has a right to keep things private, which I totally agree with. But saying her family is middle class is just factually wrong. If she wanted to keep it private, she shouldn't have said anything about it, as revealing only the more humble aspects of her background definitely paints a certain picture. I understand why she did this, because honestly, it probably wouldn't be very relatable for her to be truthful about her background, but she could have just worded her answer as something like, "My parents are immigrants, but they worked really hard to create a comfortable and upper-class living situation for me, and I'm forever grateful for that, but now I'm living independently." Or she could have just said nothing about them at all. Another thing that some people pointed out was that she mentioned that her parents are science PhDs.
My class knows. My family, I have not told yet, because they are all science PhDs and would think this is a...
Apparently this shows that she is from a wealthy background, but I disagree with that, given the context of the video. If she said that they were science PhDs in response to being asked, "Are you wealthy?" I think that would make more sense, but this was more a passing comment to show how she's different from the rest of her family. Unfortunately, she can't really take this back, since what's done is done. All she can do is either not mention it again, or mention something like, "I know people have had misconceptions about my family, and I apologize if I ever tried to make it seem like I came from a poorer background than I really did." So Ashley is an avid feminist, but she has admitted to having internalized misogyny, and I think a lot of us do as well. However, she has continued to make misogynistic jokes, often about housewives.
At 21 years old, I was already fantasizing about like, ooh, it would be so nice to retire. It would be so nice to be like a housewife. But even for a week of not working, it like jolted me back to reality and made me realize like, I don't want to not work. I thrive on having real purpose in my life and being able to like explore things and do something and create something fucking meaningful in the world. I tried filming that the day that all the World War III memes came out, and I think it shows in the video. In the back of my head the entire time I was just thinking like, holy shit, I hope I don't die, or worse, be forced to become a housewife. Do you guys ever have this weird like housewife fantasy? Like, I love my career, I love my independence, I'm also absolutely horrible at cooking, as we now all know. But weirdly, sometimes I'm just like, you know what would be nice? To marry like a really rich guy and be able to spend all day choosing out blinds and just chilling in my mansion in the hills. Maybe what I'm describing is just called being retired. Also, maybe that makes me a bad feminist.
I definitely think it's possible she didn't mean it in a bad way, but rather she has an ignorant view of what housewives actually do. But I think it's important to point these things out, because a lot of people don't see domestic work as real work, and it's wrong to perpetuate that mindset. As we all know, Ashley is incredibly intentional and puts a lot of work into her content, making comments like,
I have this problem when I'm filming that I feel like I need to say the line 15 different times.
so it's hard to think that she doesn't realize these comments can be construed negatively. She has also made many comments about things being basic, such as,
Now, I started bullet journaling a couple months ago, and I actually have really been loving it. Not to sound like a basic bitch, I can't believe it's come to this, but I am officially that Instagram hoe who goes to cafes just for the aesthetic. I'm watching a Mumford & Sons concert, like the hipster piece of trash that I am. Oh yes.
and then she goes on to make these types of comments.
Whereas entertainment made for women, like rom-com, girly pop music, even fashion and makeup, are generally considered superficial, not intelligent, and I think it's important to ask, like, why do we draw those distinctions? Why is a guy who likes war movies not considered a basic bastard, but a girl who likes Taylor Swift is a basic bitch? When in reality, both of those people are just liking things that are kind of in their assigned gender.
I actually agree with her analysis here. It's just a bit confusing when she does that exact thing. And again, I don't think she means to say these in a way to demean other women, but unfortunately it does normalize this mindset, and I think it's important to be able to notice when she makes these types of comments and understand that it's wrong. Ashley can look into reading more about how these types of comments can affect the way people think, as well as make an active effort to recognize when she says these types of things. Ashley is known for deleting comments criticizing her or her actions on her YouTube videos or Instagram, even if they are very respectful. For example, here are some comments that I have screenshotted on this Instagram post, but they have now been deleted, so if you scroll through the comments you won't be able to find them. I do think she has a right to delete these types of comments, and I can completely understand if she deletes hateful comments, but it does sadden me that it is difficult to have an open discourse on her channel. I think this is a reason why so many of these types of problematic videos have been popping up lately. Even if the comments have insightful and valuable content that could cause other viewers to think more deeply about her content, they are deleted, and to me, that is a shame. While it is her right to do so, I think it would be great if she could learn to take criticism better, but that comes with time. She also recently deleted her Amazon sponsorship and Nasty Gal ads on Instagram. The Amazon ad was deleted exactly 6 months after first posting it, so I am guessing the contractual term came to an end, but we don't know for sure. While I think it is a respectable thing to do, to delete past content that you feel you no longer align with, I think some people are upset that she never addressed it, and it seems like she's trying to hide her past mistakes. I think people would be more understanding if she had made an Instagram story saying something like, "My content has changed over time, and I've realized I partnered with companies in the past that no longer align with my brand, so I'm deleting those posts." Another issue many people had was her posts about Black Lives Matter. She received quite a bit of backlash for these posts. She then did not include them in her #BLM highlight on Instagram. Again, I think it is good that she didn't include them in the highlight, but she never addressed it. Less informed fans may have read those stories and thought that it was okay to insert yourself into the Black Lives Matter movement and post about it. It would have been much better if she had posted that she had received criticism for the way she worded those posts, and now understands it was tone deaf and apologized for it. This would have also been educational for her fans. While I think it was a good thing that she used her platform to spread awareness about the topic, she could have handled this better. Also, on her most recent video, she included charities Campaign 0 and 8 Can't Wait, which actually weren't being regarded as good charities to donate to by the Black community. When people began to comment about this, she deleted the charities from her description. While it's good that she realized these charities were not the best place to send her money, it also would have been good if she had made a comment or edited the description to explain why she was no longer sending money to these charities. For example, a viewer may have seen the video just as it was uploaded, and may think that Campaign 0 and 8 Can't Wait are a good charity to donate to. She had the chance to educate her audience about a movement she's supposedly passionate about, but chose not to. I don't think any of these things are necessarily problematic, but I do think it would be beneficial for both her and her audience if she addressed them. So, those are my takes on the situation. There are a few more issues in relation to her that others have touched on, but in my opinion, the ones I've talked about in this video are the main ones. Again, I would like to reiterate that this is not a hate video, but if I have said something that could be construed as hateful, or is just factually wrong, I would appreciate it if you could point that out. I know that Ashley has been getting a lot of flack lately, but I definitely don't think she is an evil person or irredeemable. I do, however, think it is important to question the things that she says sometimes, even beyond the issues that I've mentioned in this video. So my answer is, I don't think she is a problematic person, but some of her actions should be questioned, and I think she can learn from this and move forward. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me, I would love for a healthy discourse to start in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.